Hey guys. Alright, I'm back. Now, there's two things I want to talk about in this video. One of them happened yesterday, and the other one is just kind of breaking news today. Okay, I'm going to start with what came first. Yesterday, an arbitration panel unanimously reversed the suspensions to New Orleans Saints players Jonathan Vilma, and Will Smith, and Cleveland Browns linebacker Scott Fujita, and current free agent defensive lineman Anthony Hargrove, as they were allegedly involved in the bountygate thing, where Saints players were rewarded money for intentionally injuring players. Vilma had faced an entire season-long suspension, and he's in the process of suing NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell for defamation of character, and wants to see the evidence that Goodell has against him. And I agree with Vilma on this. I want to see this evidence that Goodell said, you guys did it. The thing was that the arbitrator said Roger Goodell did not have the right to be the arbitrator in the appeal process. I think this is a smart thing. I'll tell you why this is a very... why I had a problem with this in the first place. Because it was unfair in a way. Remember a couple years ago, the New England Patriots were caught red-handed cheating, videotaping the other team's plays, and or videotaping their signals and relaying it. They were basically cheating, and all they got was a slap on the wrist. The coach got a fine. They got docked one draft pick. But the Saints get slammed with all this. I'm sorry, but in my opinion, cheating is worse. Injuries happen in football, but cheating is worse because it's an unfair playing advantage. And the problem I have with this is Roger Goodell himself. I think Roger Goodell, this is going to be the beginning of his downfall. He's acting like he has way too much power, and he's ruining the NFL, fining players for tackling, not letting them celebrate, or things like that. All sorts of ticky-tack stuff. He's trying to turn the NFL into the National Flag Football League, or it's football. It's not flag football, it's not patty cake, it's not powder puff, it's the National Football League. And I hope Vilma sues and beats the commissioner in court. I really do. I want Roger Goodell out. He sues people for trying to use the term Super Bowl party. Super Bowl party, Super Bowl party. Yeah, commissioner. Go ahead and try to come after me. I'm just going to say, you know what? I have the First Amendment right, too. This is called YouTube, and I have my First Amendment right. But yeah, I think Roger Goodell needs to be ousted as commissioner of the National Football League. I think this is a good thing that these players... First off, the bounty thing, it happens at all levels of football. I played high school football. Trust me, it happens at every level of football. I didn't play college, but I know it happens at the college level, and we all know it happens at the National Football League. I mean, it's been going on since the beginning of football. I mean, you go out there, you don't try to say... If you know a guy has an injured shoulder, you try to tackle him where that is. It's common. I mean, you're going to go after his shoulder. You're going to go after his knee if he's coming off a knee injury. You're going to go after that knee. Don't tell me these players don't. Oh, hell yeah, I would. But, yeah, the whole... but now, the suspension overturned does not affect Saints coach Sean Payton, who's suspended for the year. Greg Williams, who was the defense coordinator, now is going to be with the Rams. He's definitely suspended. And Joe Vitt, the assistant coach, who was going to be the interim coach, and then he became got suspended. And general manager Mickey Loomis, because they're not part of the players' union or something. But my problem with the whole thing was how Roger Goodell and the NFL's commissioner office just screwed them over in a certain way. Jonathan Vilma put on his Twitter page months back when this happened how he found out. The commissioner himself, NFL spokesman Greg Aiello, nor anybody from the commissioner's office contacted Vilma himself, Vilma's agent, the New Orleans Saints, or the Players Association about them being suspended, or any of the players. But I'm not just talking about Vilma, but I'm talking about any of the players. They did not contact their agent. They did not contact the Players Association. They did not contact the teams. And they did not contact the players themselves. They found out by Jonathan Vilma said he was with Chase Daniels, backup quarterback for the Saints, and they were hanging out together, and they just so happened to turn on the TV, and they were watching SportsCenter and said breaking news, and that's how Vilma found out. He found out by watching SportsCenter. He was not notified by the league. He was not notified. Excuse me. His agent was not notified. Not just the commissioner himself contacted, but a representative from the commissioner's office should have at least contacted him, or his agent, or the Saints, or the Players Association, or any of that stuff. There was a failure in communication on the commissioner's office, and that's another reason I would have overturned it, was because Goodell's office did this the wrong way. They just said, these guys are suspended, not informing anybody else. They did the same thing to the coaches. They said, this is what we're doing. Not informed at all. The commissioner's office didn't really have any meetings with them, any of that. It was just a bad thing. And I hope this leads to the commissioner's downfall. I know he's been signed to an extension through 2018, but I would be a better commissioner in any of the 4 major sports, because all 4 commissioners are bad. I mean, we have a couple of lawyers in there, like David Stern and Gary Bettman. We got a used car salesman running baseball. All these commissioners are terrible. I would run a league better than any of these commissioners. I literally would. Okay? I'd listen to the players. I'd listen to the owners. I wouldn't be one-sided. And I'd also listen to the fans. If the fans don't like you, then there's a problem. And every time you see the commissioner go anywhere, where you see Gary Bettman go somewhere, David Stern, Bud Selig, Roger Goodell, they get booed. They get booed. And it's time for all the... some of these commissioners have been there too. Like Goodell's been there the shortest. I think he's only been around since, maybe 5-6 years. But David Stern's been NBA commissioner for almost 30 years. Gary Bettman's been NHL commissioner for 20 years. Bud Selig's been baseball commissioner for almost over 20 years. These guys have been at it way too long. They have overextended their stay, especially David Stern, because he just... I think the older these guys get, the more senile they are. But I swear, they need to also have term limits on commissioners, just like they do with the President of the United States. The President of the United States can only serve 2 terms. But unfortunately, the senators don't have terms, nor the congressman, nor the governor. Well, governor, depending on which state, because there are some states that have in their constitution that a governor cannot serve more than 2 terms. Because I know California has that, because Arnold Schwarzenegger was not able to run a 3rd time. But in Texas, I know we don't have that, because Rick Perry's been governor since he was appointed governor in 2000 when Governor Bush resigned to become president of the United States. I'm just trying to use that as an example. I think they need to have term limits on commissioners. 4 years. If they get elected for another 4 years, then out. Because that just leads to too much. It's like a country who has somebody in charge for a long time. That leads to dictatorship. See, that's why they used that amendment in the Constitution, because Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected 4 times as president, was president for 13 years. He died during his 4th term, for those who don't remember history class. But, yeah, they need to have term limits on the commissioners of sports. And I'm glad the commissioner of the NFL has been lost. These guys can now play this week. Vilma probably won't, because he's been rehabbing a knee injury. So he's probably going to miss a couple of games, or might be put on the PUP list. But even if he is on that, he would get paid his salary. And if he was suspended, he would not have gotten paid. So that's a huge win, that he is not suspended. He can get paid. But once they are on the roster on Sunday, then their base salary is guaranteed. Now, on to another thing, which is also sports related. Today, not a couple hours ago, the Washington Nationals said Steven Strasburg is done. Now, I did make a video earlier about that. He has pitched 159 in the 3rd innings. He has 197 strikeouts so far. He did not pitch that well last night against the Miami Marlins. He only lasted 3 innings. He gave up a lot of runs. So they said, oh, no, it's mentally. He's mentally tired. He's tired of all this talk about his innings pitch. Well, guess what? Today's September 8th. They're 6.5 games ahead of the Braves. Now, I did say my pennant race thing, if the Braves were 4.5 back at that time, which I thought was going to be September 12th, and they'll catch up. I think they're still going to catch up. This is going to backfire Washington. Steven Strasburg's your best pitcher. This franchise only made the playoffs one time in team history, and that was 1981 when they were in the Montreal Expos. They've not been in the playoffs in over 30 years. The city of Washington has not had postseason baseball since 1933 when the Washington Senators lost the World Series to the New York Giants. If I were a Washington Nationals fan, I would be livid. You have the best chance that you've ever had in postseason. You've been in Washington 8 years. This is the first time you're over 500. You're not the Yankees who can go out and spend money. You're not the Texas Rangers who's been able to spend money and develop players. You're not the Tony La Russa St. Louis Cardinals. I know La Russa's not the Cardinals manager, but able to develop, to get pitchers to work. You're not a team that can spend money. I mean, they do spend money, but I mean they overspend for Jason Worth in the outfield. But you guys are babies in this, and I don't want to hear from Washington fans, no, we'll be fine in the postseason. You guys don't know squat about postseason baseball. You want to know squat, go ask a Yankees fan. Go ask a Rangers fan. Go ask a Cardinals fan. Go ask a Phillies fan. I know the Phillies won't make it this year, but go ask them. Go ask people who've experienced postseason baseball the last couple of years. First off, you got to have the dice roll the right way. You got to have everything fall into place if you're going to go to the World Series or even win the World Series. The dominoes got to fall in your favor, and this is going to backfire Washington. You have one of the best pitchers on. You could possibly have a Game 7, and your best pitcher is on the bench, and he hadn't played in that series. If I were Steven Strasburg, I would be demanding a trade right now. I would be asking, this is my last game I'm pitching for Washington. You're going to bet you either play me or trade me. You have a golden opportunity to win the World Series, and you're blowing it. And they are going to blow it. They're either, if they make the playoffs, they're barely going to make the playoffs, but they'll be out in the division series. I think Mike Rizzo, the Washington GM, if this backfires big time, which it will, I think he should be fired. And I don't want to hear from you Gen Y baseball fans that, oh, we're built for the future. Oh, well, he's pitched too many innings. Yeah, stop with these 6 innings and stuff and done crap. Fergie Jenkins, a Hall of Fame pitcher, one time told me that he's tired of this. When he said when he got the ball, he expected to go all 9. You know, and these pitchers are babied way too much. I think you Gen Y baseball fans need to get a reality check. I remember times when pitchers would pitch 15 to 20 complete games a year. Now we haven't even had a pitcher pitch. We've only had 2 pitchers pitch 10 or more complete games this century. CC Sabathia in 2008 and James Shields last year are the only pitchers who've had double digits complete games. Now, this is going to backfire. I will root against Nationals for this decision. I want to see Strasburg pitching in the postseason. So do all the baseball fans. You're cheating the baseball fans. You're cheating Washington fans. You're cheating your team, Mike Rizzo, and you should be fired. You should be fired. Okay? I'm going to be rooting against you guys. And don't tell me national fans or people who say about the National, we're built for the future, we'll be contending for years. There's no guarantee you're going to be contending next year. There's no guarantee you'll be contending year after that. There's only 2 guarantees in life, death and taxes. Those are the only 2 guarantees in life, death and taxes. Know that. There's no guarantee you're going to be in the postseason next year. If you know you're going to be in the postseason next year, look into that crystal ball of yours and give me the lottery numbers for the Powerball or the Mega Millions, please. Because I'd like to retire on that. I mean, don't tell me you know. Don't say you're Tommy John, the guy who has the surgery named after him, says Strasburg should pitch. Cal Ripken says Strasburg should pitch. Chipper Jones says Strasburg should pitch. All 3 of those guys say he should pitch. I take those guys credit, I know Tommy John's not in the Hall of Fame, but he won 288 games. 7 of the 8 years after he had that surgery, like the 76, he had the surgery in 74. He missed all of 75. In 76, he pitched 200 innings. He pitched 200 innings 7 of the next 8 years, with the exception of that one year was 1981, because there was a strike that year, so nobody pitched 200 innings. I take him. He's the guy who has the surgery named after him says pitch him. That's good enough for me. Cal Ripken. Come on, you can tell Cal Ripken to sit on the bench. You're smoking. You'd be smoking something. And Chipper Jones, who's calling it a career this year, he said this: I won the World Series my first year in the league. I thought I'd win it again. I never did. See? You get to take those you take those for granted. Chipper Jones has played in 3 World Series, and he only won that first one. He lost it in '96 and '99. I mean, Dan Marino thought he was going to get back to the Super Bowl after making it his second year, and he never came back. So, what do you think? What do you think about the Saints? Okay, here's what I want you to comment on. What do you think about the Saints suspensions being overturned? What do you think about Strasburg being benched? Do you think the Saints? Do you think this? Here's what I want you to answer. Okay. Do you like the Saints suspension being overturned? Yes or no? And tell me why. Do you think Roger Goodell should be fired as commissioner of the National Football League? I say yes. He needs to be ousted. Do you think Steven Strasburg should be benched? Yes or no? And do you think Mike Rizzo, if they do blow it in the get into the playoffs, or blow it in the first round of playoffs, or not even win the World Series at all, do you think Mike Rizzo, the Washington Nationals general manager, should be fired over this decision? I say yes too. I'm surprised the owner of the Washington Nationals has not stepped in and said no, he's pitching. So anyhow, don't forget to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. And we got some college football this weekend. We got some NFL football this weekend. We got some Major League Baseball. This is great. This is awesome. I just love it. I love it. I love it. Anyhow, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter. See you guys later.